Praise ye Yahweh, sing unto Yahweh. So praising Yahweh, singing to him, right? A new song. And his praise in the congregation of saints, Israelites. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of the remembered ones, to Zion one, be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name, Yahweh. And the dance, let them sing. See, praise and sings in the same sentence. Sing praises unto him with the timbrel and the harp. For Yahweh taketh pleasure in his people, the Israelites. He will beautify the meek, we the meek, with salvation. He's going to save the elect. Salvation means to be saved from impending danger, right? Delivered from impending danger. Let the saints be joyful with glory. Let them sing or praise. Let them sing aloud upon thy beds. We're going to be getting up in the morning. So we're going to get up in the morning singing. Hey, you're going to get up, you lay with one of your wives or concubines or whatever. So when we get up in the morning, we're going to have a smile on our face. That's what Psalm 149 is talking about. When we get up in the morning, we're going to be singing and dancing. We're going to go to sleep happy. We're going to get up happy. We're going to eat happy. Every time we eat some food, it's going to be good. So a typical morning in the kingdom, the first coming to America. Akeem, he was in the kingdom of heaven. So that's how we're going to be. You're going to be able to communicate with the animals. And you other nations, number one on the list is going to be you Edomites. You're going to be out in the field, getting your ass with, working your ass off. To Psalm 149, and so we're going to wake up praising the Most High in our beds. When we go to sleep, we're going to go to sleep happy. We're going to get a good night's sleep too. Ain't going to be waking up in the middle of the night coughing or going to the bathroom. There's a saying, waking up on the wrong side of the bed. We're going to wake up on the right side of the bed every day. Yeah. We're going to wake up on the right side of the bed. Our Johnsons are going to be at attention. Your women are going to be fine, no blemishes whatsoever. All your wives are going to be perfect. And all your wives are going to be virgins. And they're all going to be young. And none of them are going to commit adultery with you. The 7 women shall take hold of one man. It's going to happen on this side, brother. And it's going to continue to happen on the other side. Hey, the scripture said we're going to raise his name in the dance, right?
Psalm 149. Praise ye the Lord. Sing unto the Lord a new song, and his praise in the congregation of saints. Let Israel rejoice in him that made him. Let the children of Zion be joyful in their king. Let them praise his name in the dance. Let them sing praises unto him with the timbrel and harp. The Lord taketh pleasure in his people. He will beautify the meek with salvation. Let the saints be joyful in glory. Let them sing aloud upon their beds. Let the high praises of God be in their mouth, and a two-edged sword in their hand, to execute vengeance upon the heathen, and punishments upon the people, to bind their kings with chains and their nobles with fetters of iron, to execute upon them the judgment written. This honor have all his saints. Praise ye the Lord.
Good morning, Your Highness.
All right, Shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rakapadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples towards younger brothers. And peace and blessing, salutation, hopefully like out there pushing his word in truth and in sincerity across the 4 winds in the name of Yahweh Bashem Al Shai, pushing to get up out of here. Shalom to hopefully the believers, the listeners who have came back of came back to the obedience of the scripture through faith in Yahweh Bashim Al Shah. All right. And I want to get back into this topic. Earlier, when I was going into this live screen, the lights went off in the area we was at. They're back on now. So I want to get into this live screen I had set up for earlier. And what we're witnessing, in this society, especially in America, is the squeeze is being felt, and what's happening is people are being priced out, okay, of living. It's getting damn near impossible, okay, to afford living in this society, especially in these cities. Most people, they live a life, of debt, to where they're completely debt slaves, to where every waking second, they're working off some debt. Okay. And this is the American dream was a trap, to trick people into being debt slaves. Okay. And you look at the West, it's a society full of debt slaves. Okay. And that's why we're going to go into a few videos, and you're going to have, people complaining, people, working these jobs, multiple jobs just to barely make it. Okay. Showing you that, the dollar is losing power. Okay. By the day, because you might make more than what your parents made, okay, on paper. But as far as, the purchasing power of the dollar, okay, you don't make more. Okay, your grandfather probably made $8 an hour, okay, and you probably make 18 or 25. But guess what? All right, the purchasing power, okay, of the dollar is declined, so much, okay, that you're not making much more, okay, maybe even less, okay, than what our parents or grandparents was making. Okay, because you look at the life they was able to sustain, with one job, two jobs. Okay, now you have situations where you have a two people household, the man and woman. Okay, and both of them have to have 2-3 jobs. Okay, showing you that the purchasing power of the dollar, okay, is declining more and more until it collapses, and they bring out this new system because the elites want people in complete desperation. Okay, when they get ready to roll out the CHIP, because first they're going to present it as a solution to all the financial problems, and then they're going to present it that they're going to make it mandate, as more people take on, all right, the CHIP, okay, and start to the CHIP becomes the thing, okay, it's going to become mandated, all right, in order to function in this society, you're going to have the CHIP, okay. So let's get a few precepts, and then I got a few videos I want to go into, but this is the book of Proverbs 28:5. It says, as a roaring lion and as a raging bear, so is the wicked ruler over the poor people. Okay. And this devil, he's just like a wild animal. Okay, a ferocious animal. He just devours the poor. He's all about just taking and devouring the poor. Okay. This is the style of rulership that this man has. Okay. It's for the super rich to continue just to destroy and devour and tear apart, all right, the poor. Okay. And this is what we're seeing. And see, there was a time when government did regulate the super rich, but now the super rich own the government. Okay. So now there's no barrier between, all right, the elites, okay, and the people. And this is why we see the squeeze being felt more and more. Okay. Now you go here to verse 26, Proverbs 28:16. It says, the prince, okay, or a ruler that wanted understanding is also a great oppressor. Okay. But he that have covetousness shall prolong. It says, but he that hateth covetousness shall prolong his days. See, right now the earth is being ruled by a prince or a ruler that wanted understanding, which means that he's lacking. Okay. And we know that this devil isn't equipped with the rulership to run the earth in righteousness, man. Okay? He isn't built to be a righteous ruler. Okay? So this man is lacking in understanding the true wisdom. All right. And it says, if you're lacking in wisdom as a ruler, okay, you're likening to what? A great oppressor, man. Okay. And this is what this devil does, man. He oppresses the earth. He finds ways to oppress the people more. You know, this whole society is one big scam that you have to constantly figure out every day. You know, you have to figure out the scam of the day to make it in this society. Okay, everything is rooted in some type of scam, and it starts with up top because they scam at the top, so everybody else has to scam, you know, to stay on par. Okay, and it's getting to the point to where people are being priced out, and they're not being able to do daily things, simple things, man. Okay, we're gonna get that definition for priced out as well. Okay, this is Proverbs 12:10. It says, a righteous man regarded the life of his beast, you know. So a righteous man even regarded the life of his animals. You know, he's even considerate. All right, his decision making, he's even considering, you know, how it affects his animals. Okay, a righteous man regard the life of his beast, but the tender mercies of the wicked are cruel. Okay, so this man has no mercy in him. He said even the tender mercies. All right. And what this man considers mercy, that's cruelty, man. Showing you that this man operates on a completely different standard, okay, than anyone that's normal. Okay, it's a complete madman that's in rulership. Okay, now let's get this definition priced out meaning when it goes into. All right, it says priced out. It says it means that the cost of something, whether it's a good, service, or place to live, has become too high for a particular person or group to afford. Essentially, it signifies that a price increase or the overall high cost of something has excluded certain individuals from participating in the market or from assessing that product or service. Okay, so what we're seeing in the American economy, people are being priced out of goods and services, places to live. Okay, so you have a homeless rate on high, food lines are at an all-time high because people are being priced out of the essentials. Okay, it says here's a more detailed explanation. It says when the price of something increases significantly, it can make it unaffordable for certain individual or groups. Okay, you see, and these devils, you know, they do this when they do gentrification. You know, they come in and buy everything up cheap, you know, remodel, renovate, okay, and then they make the prices so high that certain groups can't afford to stay there anymore. Okay, certain people, you know, mainly Jake, you know, they price out Jake all the time when it comes to housing market. That's how they keep Jake out of certain areas, is pricing them out. Okay, but what's happening now? The elites are pricing out everybody. Okay, he said this can happen in various markets such as housing, transportation, or even entertainment. Okay, so what we're seeing is people being priced out. Okay, I got a video that goes into that. All right, let's go here. Um, um, so like, let me pull it up. I thought I had it pulled up. Let me go to my history. Okay, so you have this woman. I think her channel is Sabby Saab or something like that. But let's pull it up real quick. There you go.
By your work. We know that millennials and Gen Z have not been able to buy homes at the same rate as our parents, right? So I'm a millennial. There are some of you watching that are Gen Z, but I think a lot of you, according to my YouTube analytics, a lot of you are millennials, right? So we have not been able to do that because our wages did not adjust for inflation. We're getting paid less than we should get paid, basically, if we were to be on the same level as our parents. So I've talked about that before, that the housing crisis in this country continues to increase, and it's a problem. And I don't see this problem being fixed. And I also don't think that this is the answer either. Did you know that many of these individuals living in the suburbs, living in these homes, don't own these homes? We have another crisis that is happening in this country, and that is home renters, people who are renting homes because they can't afford to buy one. Let's go ahead and get into this clip here, ladies and gentlemen.
America's suburbs undergoing a transformation.
We're priced out of the market right now, and we're not the only ones.
The dream of owning the house with the white picket fence increasingly giving way to white picket renters. In Lake Villa, Illinois, outside of Chicago, engineer Andrew Decker earns a six-figure salary and only wishes he and his fiancée could buy a home.
You could buy a house tomorrow if the price was right, if the interest rates were where they needed to be.
But mortgage rates are near 7% and home prices at record highs. Since the pandemic, the median single-family home price has soared almost $100,000, now topping.
Pause. I'm going to pause here because I just want everybody to take a look at these numbers. This is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. A mortgage rate at 6.86%. Average home price at $416,000. And we're going to do a little bit of math with the story. So we'll show you, like, if you were purchasing a house at a certain amount, how much your mortgage payment would be per month. But the reality is, folks, I would say a lot of people cannot afford to buy these homes. That interest rate, that mortgage rate is also important. That's where they really get you. Because I think if you did not go through this process, and I went through this process during the pandemic, so I want to explain something to you. One of the reasons why it was easier for, my family to buy a house during the pandemic is because the rates were significantly low. And that matters. That matters, especially if you don't have a lot of money for a down payment, right? Like, the lower those rates are, the better it's going to be for you. But I noticed something. Like, we purchased in 2020. We went through a first-time home buyer program, which was very educational, but also a pain in the ass. I'm just gonna be honest with you. It was a lot of work. And what I will say is that if we would have waited until that same month in 2021, would have not been able to buy a house. That's how quickly the home prices started to increase. And I live in Massachusetts, so I think you guys know Massachusetts is an expensive state. Like, it's not cheap here, especially for those of us in the Boston area, right? So there's no way. I can tell you today, there's no way I would be able to buy a house today. So what we have noticed is that the same type of house that we have in our neighborhood, they are now selling this home, like, down the street for $200,000 more, which makes absolutely no sense. It's not worth $200,000 more. That's how much these homes started to increase after the pandemic. So what is happening is that there's another crisis across the country where a lot of these people that are living in these homes that you may think own those homes, they're not owners, they're renters. So let's talk about private equity and developers for a second. A lot of times what you see happening is private equity they're buying these homes and they're renting them out. Or you have millionaires, you have billionaires, you have investors who are buying single family homes and they're renting them out. So for some people, especially if you have children, for you, this may be the closest thing you can get to, having a house. If you want a home, you want a backyard, you may pursue this option of renting a home so that you can have those types of amenities, or so that you can have a good school district. That's another reason why people may choose to do this. The point is this, folks, in a country as wealthy as the United States of America, this shouldn't even have to happen. People should be able to own a home. So that's how you know the American dream has slipped away.
400 grand. How is that changing the suburbs?
Well, basically what you see is that renting obviously is a much more economical option than buying. And developers have seen this trend that started in 2021 with COVID, and they've really built a surge of apartments.
According to new analysis of census data, renting in the burbs is surging so much, 203 suburbs across the country are now majority home renter rather than homeowner.
That is absolutely insane. So the majority of people, 203, the majority of people in those areas do not own the home that they are living in. They are renting. What has happened to this country?
We are not a traditional cafe. We're completely unconventional. And my Wix website really has to capture the same magic.
No way that this should be able to happen.
In 15 suburbs, the number of renter households more than doubled between 2018 and 2023.
I don't see any end in sight. I really don't. And I foresee it getting worse and worse over the next 5 years.
Renters like Andrew Decker left wondering how they'll ever be able to buy their piece of the American dream. Christine Romans, NBC News.
We think
Very
And see, the American dream, all right, was a snare. It was a trap. Okay. And people, bought into it, and went in debt for it. Okay. And now the American dream, the base level, middle class, suburban living American dream is now unattainable for most. Okay, and people are still clawing and scratching, they're trying to get to the American dream, and they're sinking further and further into debt. Okay, and this is how this man runs the earth, because you go to Proverbs 22:7, it said the rich ruleth over the poor, and the borrower is servant to the lender. Okay, so the rich ruleth over the poor. Why? Because the poor have to constantly borrow from the rich. Okay. And then these people talking about home ownership. Well, if you went through the bank, okay, to get a loan for your home, then you don't own that home. That's not home ownership, okay, because you're still in debt. Okay, you don't own, people don't own much outright. Okay, just because you get a deed or a title, well, if you're paying a mortgage or car notes, well, guess what? You're in debt. Okay, you just took on debt. All right, it's the illusion of home ownership. So even when you so-called are a homeowner, well, guess what? You just signed yourself over, okay, to debt, because you go into what mortgage means. I think it even means death, because they set it up to where it's a great chance you're going to be paying them till you die. Okay. So lucky. But I'm gonna look that up. The word Adam. Let's see, Adam. Look this word mortgage. See if it give us something. Okay. So you have a society, where people are still, trying to make this American dream a reality. Okay. And it's it's just not working, man. Okay, it's just not working out for them. Okay, and it's getting worse and worse because the dollar is losing, more and more of its power. Okay, so you're working more hours to buy less. It's all a scam. Okay, so let's go here to this one. I got another video. Could find that word mortgage on Adam. It said, this is Ecclesiastes 12:3. It says, in the day when the keepers of the house shall tremble, and the strong men shall bow themselves, and the grinder cease because they are few, and those that look out into the windows, okay, be darkened, okay, because the keepers of the house goes into these economists, okay, because all these economists are not in the know. They think that it's some type of integrity within the economy and the stock market, okay, and they think things are regulated by the government, and they're seeing what's to come. All right, as the elites are crashing this place, okay, and they're beginning to tremble. Okay, there's no good news for American economy. Okay, there's these fake, reports like Donald Trump is just doing something great and he won some type of trade war. But you look at the reality, man, and it's all fluff. Okay, they keep, hyping Trump up, and Trump is doing the migration and deportations, and he's, stopping war, he's bombing shit, he's doing all these things. But the reality of the situation is that this place is tanking, man. Okay. And it says, and the strong men shall bow themselves, which are rich men. Okay. And what's happening, those that were used, middle class is being destroyed, upper middle class is being destroyed. Okay. Wealth is being destroyed in America, man. Okay. To get to the point where it's unattainable. And if you're not in that exclusive club of the super rich, okay, eventually these things are going to affect you, man. Okay. It says, and the grinders cease, because they are few, and those that look out of the window, okay, be darkened, which, as this place crashes, more jobs are going to, cease from existing. AI is taking jobs, the people are not, certain industries are not able, because certain industries are being priced out, because they only want a few, okay, retail and, hospitals. They only want a few of these things to make it. Few banks are going under, okay, because they only want a few, okay, of these businesses to survive, and these are the businesses that's in their club, okay, of the elites, okay, that are juiced in with the elites, okay. Everything else is being priced out, all right, and they're pricing out people in every market, okay. So if you don't have, this is excess capital, to absorb, the inflation, okay, then you're not going to make it, okay. These businesses, these private businesses, small businesses, they're making sure they're pricing them out, because the tariffs, who were the first people to complain about the tariffs? Well, small business, okay. Small business was the first group that we seen complain about the tariffs, because it was a way of pricing them out the market. Okay, because they're not able to absorb those tariff costs as these major corporations can. Okay, and these government contractors can. You see? So what we're seeing is just a major price out, man. All right, now let's go here to this next video. This is from the beloved elder brother Shaquat down here in the Mississippi camp. All right, which he posted this a couple of days ago, and I think today, matter of fact. All right, was this a news update? It said many struggling Americans are poly working. Okay, so let's play this.
Which we're all from. Dog, a second job now is a necessity. Like back in the day, you'll get a second job because you wanted a new car, or you'll get a second job to pay off this vacation or do. Now you need two jobs to maintain a standard of living. So now you're talking about bringing another human being into the world that's going to rely on you for every single thing.
That's more expensive for their formula, their clothes.
Now you can't take even the jobs that pay minimum wage. It's no kids in there. Think about what I'm saying. When we were young, the bad chicks worked at the mall. I'm going to the mall. They in there. Now those are grown-ups.
Grocery store.
Wawa. Grown-ups. Dunkin' Donuts. Grown-ups. Fam, they are outsourcing the jobs at a different type of rate. So now the 40-year-olds are working at Wawa.
But they have to.
They have to. Bro, I live in Wawa, right? So I could go on Wawa at 2 a.m. to get a coffee. Bro, it's 55, 60-year-old women in there working there at 2 a.m.
Overnight. Yep.
You get what I'm saying? So when we start talking about people having kids, people are not having kids on purpose because they can't afford them.
This year and everything is just hitting me right now. It's like not where I wanted to be. I haven't succeeded at anything. I haven't even tried. Like, I don't even know anymore. I don't know how to do anything. I don't know how to cope with anything. And I don't know how to, I did this whole growing thing wrong. Like I'm supposed to be an adult. I'm supposed to be able to handle these things, that I can't handle anything. And I literally am just realizing, like, it's been 40 years of this, and like 40 years of just being confused and not knowing, and like figuring things out slower, and like not like I haven't built anything. I haven't nothing like to show for this time. I just don't know what I'm doing here, and I'm lost. I'm afraid, and I don't.
So yeah, I need help. Today is like the last day for me to be able to pay my rent. If I don't pay it, then I'm at risk of being evicted. Like, I don't have the funds to pay for it myself, so I just need help. I'm gonna put a link in maybe like the description or comments for my GoFundMe, and please, it's not that much. It's like maybe $700. I need it by 4 p.m. today, or like yeah, I could be moving out in like 2 weeks. Yeah, I'm a single mom, and I do have family, but I'd be too embarrassed to ask, and I don't think they have it for me. So I'm just getting on here and asking, like, if you could donate to help me reach that amount today. Please, please, please donate. It would be much appreciated, and thank you to anybody who has already donated to my GoFundMe. Thank you. You don't know how much this means to me, so please, please, please donate so I can help pay my rent.
Shalom. I would like to.
So as you can see, dealing with their first video, you had this guy speaking about, working 2 jobs, is the norm, just to get by now. Okay. And you have to think of the progression, over the time, because you had in the 50s, you started in the 50s, what they call the roaring 50s. And this is where, America became the official superpower of the earth. Okay. And the American currency, the American dollar, became the world reserve currency. All right. And you had this era, where a man could go to work. Okay. The woman, was able to stay at home. Okay. And the man would make enough. All right. The dollar was strong enough that whatever the man made, okay, it would provide for his house, his wife, 2, 3, 4 children. Okay. They could buy a house. They could buy a car. Okay. They could have something in savings. Okay. And take a vacation. All right. Throughout the year. Okay. All off one job. Okay. And then what happened? They came in, all right, with the, the feminist movement, which, they push women, to the workforce. They trick women into the workforce as if they was, it was some type of flex for women to stop being housewives, okay, and go out into the workforce. Okay, so they trick women into the workforce, and they hid some of the inflation, because now you got 2 incomes coming in one house to keep things afloat. Okay, but as inflation kept going, all right, those 2 incomes wasn't enough to now they started letting people get credit cards, because credit cards used to be a thing of the rich. You had to be rich to have a credit card. You had to have wealth. You had to be of the, the upper tier to possess a credit card. Okay. But then what happened? The bank started allowing, working class families to get credit cards. Okay. and now people started to take on debt. You know, you had two now, so you went from one job to now two jobs plus a credit card. Okay, plus now you got to go through the bank to get a house. The bank will give you a loan to get a house. You couldn't pay for it outright anymore. Okay, so now you have these banks and these credit cards. Okay, that now families have to take on debt. Okay, in which it ran for a while. It wasn't bad. People was able to manage their debt. Okay, but now you fast forward now, people living strictly off debt, and that one job that one person had is not enough. Now, you need 2, 3, 4 incomes in one household plus debt. Okay, so it has progressively just gotten worse and worse and worse, and people are being priced out because these devils are getting ready to roll out a new system, and they're going to present this system as the savior from the old system. Okay, which this new system is about control, way more control. Okay, have programmable money. Okay, money that if you don't spend in a certain time, it can expire. Money that you can only spend on certain things. You know, your money gonna be distributed to you. All right, so forth and so on. Okay, so let's go here. Let's get some more precepts. All right, but this is the devil, man. Okay, and this man, all right, is constantly just putting constant pressure on the masses, man. And let's go here to Isaiah, the 14th chapter. Okay, and we'll get this in the NLT, and we'll start at verse 4. You know, and this is why we only look forward to the Lord destroying this whole system. You know, why people, you know, are trying to heal. You know, matter of fact, let's get that in Jeremiah, then we'll get that in Isaiah. Okay, because while people are trying to heal this place, you know, voting in the right president, okay, you know, people want to become entrepreneurs and, you know, all these things that people try to do, you know, to combat, all right, that this place is falling, okay, that the Lord, okay, is causing this place, okay, to be dismantled. He's putting it on the mind of the elites, you know, to dismantle their own society. All right, this Jeremiah 51:8 said, but suddenly Babylon too has fallen. Weep for her, give her medicine, perhaps she can be healed. You know, and this is the Lord making mockery, okay, of Babylon, you know, because it can't be healed. Okay, the Lord knows his intention for America, all right, and it's suffering, okay, tribulation, famine, okay, civil unrest, violence, okay, that's what this place is spiraling into. Okay, ain't gonna be no rebound. People are optimistic about this place rebounding, okay, somehow, some way, because it just, no matter what, you know, this place always seems to rebound and things and people go off. You know, these same people that are crying on camera, okay, if things got better, they would be more proud than they were, okay, before. Okay, these women, you know, I don't need a man, and this, you know, this independent, that doctrine destroyed them, completely destroyed women. Okay, and now they're out here through. Okay, they're not compatible with anybody. They can't work in a group. Okay, you know, this society has made them narcissistic. Okay, so they're not compatible to work in any type of group. Okay, and they're just left out there in this economy that's getting worse. Okay, he said we will have help her if we could, but nothing can save her now. Let her go. Okay, nothing can be done to reverse what the Lord is doing to America, man. Okay, it only gets worse from here. It said, let her go, abandon her. Okay, return now to your own land, for her punishment reaches to the heavens. It is so great it cannot be measured. Okay, so this place of pride, okay, people in America are very, let's say, narcissistic. Okay, their worldview is like the nothing matters outside of what America has going on. Okay, they don't care about what their the military is doing across seas, how the government is oppressing people throughout the earth. No one in America cares as long as they have their daily convenience, okay, their entertainment, okay, you know, they're partying. You see, Americans don't give a damn about anything or anyone. They don't even care about each other, okay? So now the Lord is going to bring the pain to this society, man, to America, man. Okay, it's been very powerful, man. Okay, extremely powerful. I think is it Jeremiah 50. Okay, Jeremiah 50 and 29. All right, it says, send out. Okay, and it says send out a call for archers to come to Babylon. All right, and these archers are nuclear capable nations. Okay, we see the economic collapse is just the beginning. It ends with nukes. Okay, it ends with you people, okay, being burnt alive. Okay, it says surround the city so no one can escape. Do to her as she have done to others, for she has defied the Lord, the Holy One of Israel. Okay, and this is an anti-Messiah society. Okay, everyone has this anti-Messiah, some more than others. Okay, but these same people crying and whining and about the economy, these people are anti-Messiah to the core. Okay, so the Lord's just going to bring the pain. Okay, it says her young men will fall in the streets and die. Her soldiers will all be killed, says the Lord. So in America, okay, you're going to have violence. Okay, civil unrest, and the soldiers that are deployed to this war, they're going to be put to death, man. Okay, so the Lord, all right, has major judgment for America and everything that's attached to it, man. Okay, it says, see, I am your enemy, you arrogant people. Okay, so the Lord is an enemy to you arrogant people, man. Okay, you proud American assholes, man. Okay, the Lord is an enemy unto you. All right, so he's going to bring the pain. It's only going to get worse, man. Okay, says the Lord of heaven armies, your day of reckoning has arrived, the day when I will punish you. Okay, so this place is getting set up, all right, to be punished, man. Okay, we're just beginning. This is the beginning of sorrow. It's going to get far worse, man. Okay, you people are finna starve to death. You people, cannibalism is going to be a thing. Okay, women being ravished, man. Okay, extreme violence, man. A lot of gun violence, man. These things are finna go rampant in America, man. Okay, wild beasts, the teeth of wild beasts, true pestilence, man. It's gonna be really, it's gonna be fatal. Okay, not the not the C19, just a super flu. Okay, it's gonna be major pestilence, man. Okay, and it says, a land of arrogance, you will stumble and fall, and no one will raise you up. For I will light a fire in the cities of Babylon, these nukes that will burn up everything around them. Okay, a land of arrogance, man. Okay, so we're finna see pride cease in the earth. Okay, especially here in America, man. The Lord's finna cause pride to cease. Okay, because these same people that we're seeing crying, and you rewind back before the demic, okay, when they was in their heyday, it was full of pride. Okay, so the Lord is going to address pride through suffering, man. And what better way to address pride but through hardcore suffering? You see, so that's the point. I'll leave it there. Lord will, you brothers, all right, and you sisters edify once again. We give all praise and glory unto Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem Kakadash. Double honors unto the apostles and the elders of GMS who rule well, teach well, being great examples, always on the brothers. And peace and blessings, salutations, hopefully, shalom.